Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder.
Welcome to another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast. I am your host, low man on the totem pole, floor sweeper, toilet wiper, parking lot trash cleaner, Spence Halpert. I'm joined by the big Germ.
What up, what up?
And a longtime listener, recent host.
First time caller, yeah.
Here in the studio, Mr. Chris Spencer. How are you, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good. Man, I leave for just a little while, and you'll have this fancy new podcast desk set up and a big light-up sign.
One of these days, we're going to figure out the video thing and be able to actually show people do it. That's what everybody's doing these days.
Man.
Video in their podcast.
I don't care what anybody says. Big things happen here in Somerville, Tennessee.
I don't know. It's my first boss said titles are cheap in a startup. And so, you know.
That's fair.
When you make the size of your pond, you can be the biggest fish or the smallest fish, whatever size you want to be. So, how's your spring been?
Man, it's been good. Honestly, today the weather was fantastic. Felt like I should have been chasing a turkey
Today
somewhere.
Would have been a great
but
day to turkey hunt.
I know you guys are still open here in Tennessee for another day or two, I believe, but I've hung up my boots.
Yep, transitioned, huh?
Yeah, I transitioned, unfortunately.
How was your turkey season?
Man, I can't complain. I was able to harvest a couple turkeys back home in Alabama. Got to travel a little bit.
Awesome.
Got to see Missouri and got my butt whooped in Mississippi more mornings than I want to admit. Got to hang out with some old friends and some new friends. Got to see some new ground. And so
You went to Missouri with Trent Shell?
With Trent Shell.
What a character.
Man, listen, anybody that's heard that I went to Missouri with Trent Shell is like, how did you end up with that character? Like, how did you end up with him? And, yeah, it was fun. Well, yeah, we went up there, and Mr. Chris Figge was kind enough to host us and kind of give us some pointers and let us hit the ground rolling. And, man, he talked a big game about how smart those turkeys were and how hard it was, and I was done in about 30 minutes. I said, well, there was that.
There you go.
But it was awesome, man. It was a gorgeous place up there. I can't wait to go back this next spring. We're already making plans.
What part of the state?
It's in the Ozarks. I mean, we were obviously out of the boot heel, but I mean, there's a bunch of public ground up there.
It's like what you call South Central-ish?
Yeah.
South of I-70 and, you know, kind of middle portion of the state.
Yep.
That is a beautiful rural part of the state.
Man, yeah, the cell signal's hard to come by. There's quite a few hills there, and you can do all the walking you want to. But there was a couple of turkeys around that yodeled right, and
it's awesome.
Yeah, did it like they were supposed to. So
back in the early '90s, when I was learning how to turkey hunt and kind of coming up, that was the publications, all the magazines, all the videos. It was all southern Missouri, you know, from the Boot Hill all the way across west. I mean, you find yourself in the Mark Twain National Forest, and they would say you hear, 20 turkeys gobbling every morning.
Yeah, we missed. I guess it would have been the weekend after we were there. There was some big. I can't remember what he called it, but there's just a gathering of all these collectors of turkey calls and makers, and because apparently there's a lot of history of call makers there in that part of the world, and I was kind of bummed that we missed it because, like I said, I know there's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's about as pure a turkey hunting as it's kind of like Stuttgart and flooded trees and mallards. There's a lot of long history there.
Yeah,
they've not had turkeys forever, but they've had turkeys for a long time.
Chris talked about that. He said, I mean,
Early
there was
70s,
a lot of relocation work done in that part of the world, and some places where folks claim that everybody's always heard of turkey here, and I mean, when you go and look and see some of those places, it makes a lot of sense. Like if there was going to be a turkey, he'd be standing on this ridge.
And they've tried hard as a state to manage their resource all along. They've had shorter seasons historically, smaller limits, and they still experienced a big decline. The last, 5, 6, 7 years. But they're, best I can tell from what I'm hearing, they're kind of back on the uptick like a lot of states are.
And from what I understand, they were one of one of the only states, especially the early states, to adopt the late start based off that work. I guess it was the mid 80s, about not harvesting gobblers until those hens actually get to incubation, not just laying, but actually incubating. And I mean, at least where we were, it seemed like it paid off.
And Gabe Baker would tell you that Kentucky, whoever the guy in charge in Kentucky for a lot of years, he learned from the school of the guy who was in charge at Missouri. So if you look back over the last 30, 40 years, Kentucky's seasoned the the biology, I guess if you will, behind the rationale for their bag limits and their season dates. Very, very reflective of Missouri. And so I guess you look back over the last 40, 50 years, it's hard to argue Missouri and Kentucky are hammer states when it comes to hardwoods.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's got it all right, but it seems like they've gotten a couple things right.
Job, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, good.
But it was good.
What else are you up to these days?
Well, like I said, hung up the turkey boots. Finally got all the turkey gear out of the truck, so now we're transitioning back to dog training. A little bit behind the ball. I spent more time hunting than I thought I would this spring, but now we're able to.
What kind of dog do you have?
So I got a black lab named Dugan. So he's a year and a half, and
Where did that name come from?
So it's kind of a long story. So the sire out of this litter, or the dog that sired this litter, at the time he was owned by a guy out of Kentucky, and he was over from Ireland, and the dog's name was Tanis, and on paper it's a bunch of Irish names that I won't pretend to pronounce correctly. And so when we started looking at dog names, when he picked him up, I guess it's been I've had him a year and a half. So 2 years ago, open weekend of duck season, I lost my last dog. So we brought him home and trying to decide what we were going to name him, and it took me a little bit. And so I started looking at Irish names. I was like, well, maybe there's some kind of nod there. And so O'Dugan or O'Dupagan, all these just different spellings of it. It's an old Irish name, and it means like dark or black. And he's a black lab, and so on paper it's spelled real funky, and I don't even pretend like I could pronounce it correctly, but it's been fun. And
Did you give it the old yell test? Like,
man, I was like, I got to be able to get it in 2 syllables, and so he gets all kinds of names. I call him Goober more often than not, but he's been a lot of fun. So
how old is he?
He's a year and a half.
All right.
So we
Did you hunt him this winter?
Man, I hunted him this past year. So took him up to Canada with us. So he got to go up there. We freelanced. Got to hunt 5 days while we were up there, and man, he absolutely crushed it. And he got to hunt here back at home pretty good bit. So he had more birds, to his name after that first year than my last dog had after.
Not your
4
normal
years.
Bonehead to walk to the line for a started test.
He's doing pretty good. We haven't quite found his off switch. He's got a lot more just natural drive than my last dog did. Yeah. And raising him, I've got 2 toddlers at the house, so that's definitely not helping.
High-strung lab, 2 toddlers.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Let's all add Kayla to our prayer list.
There's a lot going on. Now, listen, I want it on the record that she has hinted at getting another dog because she said that maybe it'll settle him down some, and I was like, don't try me because we can. But no, he's been good. So we're back in dog training mode. I've got a few buddies there around the house that are pretty active, especially in the AKC world. But some guys that are training pretty regularly that kind enough to let me go crash their parade and run my one dog next to their trailer fulls. But we're getting ready. Got a couple HRC tests coming up this summer. Going to try to get a couple titles under our belt before duck season this fall.
Go.
So
that was a 2020, 2021 thing that we did as a family that I kind of miss. It was that's a little world inside, the world. Like duck hunting is a small world, but that HRC world is a tight-knit family, and they travel together and they stay in the hotel together and eat dinner together, and like it's a thing, and I kind of missed that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a very small. I mean, you pick the game that you want to run, but it's a very small community regardless. And I mean, everybody that I've talked to has been great. Shout out Mr. Colin Sherrill. Saw him at the last hunt test I was at. He was running his dog. Got its title at that last test. So man, shout out to him. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Colin's going to be here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
he's hosting the Pete's Seasoning Team at the 2025 7th Annual Charity Golf Scramble. And what's the opposite of if you put a team together in a contest and you have somebody that's just like a hammer, you know, they're your they're your A player. What's the opposite of that? Like, what if you've got like a handicap player?
The D player.
Yeah. Is there a term for that?
The D player.
Okay.
A lot of times.
There's not a better term that kind of really mocks their ability. What I'm getting at is my dad is his.
Okay.
Dunce.
I was trying to figure out like if this was a dig at Colin. I was like, because I've never seen Colin play golf, but I know he does some.
Colin's pretty athletic, best I can tell. At everything he does. You don't just accidentally play Division I football without having pretty decent.
That was my suspicion. My suspicion was that he can hit a golf ball at least decent. So.
Yeah, and I feel confident his brother Copeland can probably knock the cover off a golf ball too. He looks like a golfer, and I think he's a heck of a baseball player. But they're playing with my dad.
Okay.
So my dad had a team, and they had a team, and neither one of them could find the other. My dad had one player, and they were looking for a couple ringers, and so I'm not sure who thinks they got the short end of the stick yet, Colin or my dad, but
somebody did. We'll see. So, who knows? Maybe they'll surprise you and I'll give everybody a run for their money.
Yeah. But Colin's been running the HRC test.
Yeah. So he was running, like I said, he was trying to get wrapped up. He got his season title, I believe, that last one. That was the last passes they needed to get that knocked out. So.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for him. Everybody else in your family good?
Man, they're doing good. Kids growing like weeds. Like I said, we're about to get into a real fun season.
How old are your kids?
So my little girl is 5, my little boy's 3.
Okay.
So 3 going on 4.
Get a little independence.
They're a little
sneaking into the.
Yeah, they're starting to be a little bit of trouble, but they're competent enough they can do a little bit of stuff on their own.
Yep.
Nash wants to fight a lot, so that's been a lot of fun.
Does he get that from you or Kayla?
I honestly don't know, but wherever it is, he thinks he can beat up everybody. So he'll come up and he'll ask me, "You want a knuckle sandwich?" So, and it's absolutely adorable. But then you got to whoop him. So I gotta start working out. I don't know if any of the listeners have not seen me. I'm not a very intimidating looking fella physically. So
I think psychological warfare is going to get you a lot farther with your kids than physical.
Oh
warfare.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. If he gets in shape, I'm screwed. So, but no, so they're fun. Like I said, we're fixing to hit a real fun season. We're gonna get to travel a little bit this summer. Got a beach trip coming up. I don't know. Them able to do stuff on their own is just. It's making things more enjoyable for me. I know people like different seasons of life, and I'm not trying to rush through this phase, but
that's a perfect phase. I mean, if there is one, I mean, they still like you. They depend on you.
They're begging to go hunting. I almost took them this year, which I didn't have. I'm a public land guy. I didn't have anywhere that I thought I could take them, to the woods this year. But I did get in on a lease. They're back home for this next spring, so Deer and Turkey Club. So I'll have some opportunities to take them without the get there at 3 a.m. and hold a gate type stuff. So, yeah, we're right to that season where I think it's about to get real fun.
That's awesome. And you've got a new job that you started.
New job. So started back in January, but we've been in full swing. So I took over as the regional director for the state of Alabama with Delta Waterfowl.
Awesome.
So,
congratulations.
Man, well, thank you, sir. It's been a lot of fun. If you'd asked me 10 years ago if I'd be sitting there, I probably would have said no.
So you're recruiting new chapters?
I guess? So all of the chapter operations in the state of Alabama, if that's their fundraising event, all the way to their through Delta, we have our Waterfowl Heritage Fund, which lets the chapters do local projects. So youth shoots or wood duck boxes or sponsor a shooting team. So all of that stuff falls under me. So I help make sure they accomplish all of their goals there, and then start new chapters, helping connect new volunteers to opportunities to get involved and make a difference in conservation.
And then when there's a banquet, I guess you're the guy with the microphone.
I'm hosting it. I don't get to auctioneer, so we got a real good guy to Mississippi that
you're
that
the
helps
MC,
us out. But I MC
right?
it,
so
yes sir.
You're go buy more raffle tickets.
Yeah, keep everything going. If somebody has a problem, got to put out the fire and make sure everything gets where it needs to be and everybody has a good time.
Well, good. So, that's going good.
Man, it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's awesome.
So
you cover the whole state.
The whole state of Alabama.
How long does it take you to get to Mobile?
About 5.5 hours. No, that's my long one. Just from where I live there in the northwest corner,
Yep.
it's about as far as I'll have, as far as I go.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good.
yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying your new gig, and
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of work.
There's a lot going on. It's definitely keeping me busy, but talking about keeping busy, like we've been sitting around here this morning, kind of talking about what you guys have going on here at the shop. So
It's always
it hasn't
busy.
been quiet here. You guys have a lot going on.
We do. And, the next thing on the calendar, Big Germ can tell you all about. He's the chairman of the 7th annual charity golf scramble this year.
Are you gonna wear a suit?
No.
You should make him wear a suit.
Yeah,
Like a black tie,
yeah,
with tails.
You're the chairman, or a top hat at
It's
least.
gonna be hard to swing in that.
Nobody's
I
coming to that
believe-
event to see you swing a golf club.
I'm just saying. I believe in the
No.
the delegation task. The last one on my list was play golf,
That's true.
Okay.
and I quote from Spencer Halford: "Play golf." So
Now this might have fizzled out and might not be a thing, but there was a shop wager around the golf scramble.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Never made the light of day.
okay?
And the reason is because we didn't have a qualifying scoreable event. So
Just-
the
I say,
backstory
yeah, so
real
backstory.
quick was Lanier had this brilliant idea that we have a turkey hunting contest around here, which seemed like a great idea. We drew names and paired up into teams, and we created a scoring metric. But the one fatal flaw of the scoring metric was in order for the turkey to be scoreable, you and your teammate had to be together. So the idea was a lot of us have places that we can hunt pretty close here to the shop, and close enough where it's not like a overnight,
Sure.
getaway kind of thing. And so we all paired up, and none of the pairs had really ever hunted together. So it was kind of interesting. We had 10 people, and we had 5 teams, and all of the teams were paired with people who didn't hunt together on a regular basis or ever. And so the contest lasted 2 weeks, first 2 weeks of Tennessee turkey season, and nobody killed a turkey as a pair. We had a miss, we had a couple of real close calls, and we had lots of turkeys killed.
Just
Drake,
not as
Drake
team,
killed
yeah,
one
not as a
opening-
team.
Yeah, Drake killed one opening morning with Lauren, but his teammate was somewhere else, and I took my teammate a time or two, and we got real close, but never got one.
And the wager was whichever team came in last.
Yeah, the losers had to sing the national anthem at the golf scramble. But one thing that everybody forgot to ask was, how do you determine who the loser is?
Mhm.
Since there'd only be one winner,
Yep.
how do you determine who the loser? And so one thing everybody's going to find out, and I can say this now because they're kind of all doing different things, but basically everybody
Everybody
gonna
lost,
sing
right?
Yeah, everybody lost, right?
Y'all didn't harvest.
Right.
Yeah, no one scored a
So-
turkey.
So we're gonna ensemble sing the national anthem as the kickoff right before 9:55 on Saturday, June the 7th.
God, now I may
Golf
have to
scramble.
skip an HRC event because this seems like something that I need to witness myself.
Well, Germ, tell us where we're at with the golf scramble, because it's been a giant success this year.
it has, and it feels weird saying that from the social aspect. We haven't even posted about it. So
We hadn't publicized
if you're
it.
listening and you haven't heard about it and you've been waiting, I can just tell you now, I apologize. I promise that just from a marketing standpoint over everything we do here, we always try to get it right, and we may not always get it right, but we were at a point, I don't know, sometime in, I guess, April, and we had several people start kind of asking about when our sign-up's going to open, and so we decided to go ahead and create the product, if you will, online, but not really start marketing yet because we were in the middle of, launching some other things, some collect calls. We're doing some how-to series on other channels. We were just a lot of moving parts, so we decided not to really market it yet, announce the dates, if you will. But we did open the registration, and I guess just word of mouth, people sending it to one another.
Well, and
I
it's
know
the first
you were-
weekend of June every year, so we had a whole bunch
Yeah.
of people who
Right,
just
right.
expected.
They just knew it was coming.
Right, and next thing you know, we started getting some sponsors too, and of course, if you sponsor a hole, you get a team as well. So that was taken off of the inventory count, and literally before we
knocking it
had
back.
a chance to look up and take a breath, we're sold out of teams.
Yeah.
So we will have 32 full teams at the golf scramble this year.
We've had 30 one time.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually at the Somerville Country Club, and we had 2 flights, or maybe we had 28 out there. Last year, I think we had 28 or 29 in Oakland. We've never had 32 teams, is what I'm getting
Okay.
at. And we've got 32 full teams. We've got all the names of the players. Like, it's not 32 pie in the sky teams. And we've got more hole sponsors than we've ever had.
Right.
I mean, I haven't gotten the recent count, but it's a bunch.
We should have enough to do at least almost every one of them will be 2 sponsors per hole, and maybe a few extra. I got to count it up as well. But all that to say, if you don't get to come play golf on Saturday the 7th, Friday, June the 6th here at the shop, it's still wide open, and it's going to be one of the best ones we've ever put together, I think. Just to give you a rundown, we've got Malcolm Reed with How to Barbecue Right. His entire team, they're coming in probably Thursday night to start because they're doing whole hog barbecue.
For just a second, let's talk about Malcolm. Because I didn't know Malcolm by name. I know Malcolm by face, because if you're like me and you've ever turned to YouTube because you wanted to smoke some ribs or you wanted to smoke a pork shoulder or whatever, and you typed how to smoke, you name it, queso, ribs, brisket, burnt ends. Malcolm's YouTube channel is called How to Barbecue Right, and inevitably you've
seen him.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched. There's no telling how many of his instructional videos I've watched, and had no idea the guy's local to us.
Yeah, right there in Hernando, Mississippi.
Big Germ walks in one day and goes, "Hey, what do you think about if we see if Malcolm Reed wants to cook barbecue for the golf scramble?" I'm like, "Sounds good to me. Who's Malcolm Reed?" And he's like, "This guy." He showed her, like, "Dude, that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that guy."
How to barbecue.
Yeah. No, he's big on all things video. His YouTube channel, his Instagram, TikTok, all of his social platforms.
2 million followers on YouTube. I mean, man's cooked some backyard barbecue.
Heck yeah.
Directly and indirectly.
Yeah. So he's bringing his whole team's coming in to help.
Yep. They'll probably come in Thursday evening. Supposed to have a call with one of their guys next week to confirm logistics. But, yeah.
They're going to cook on site here.
Yes. Whole hog barbecue plus tons of extras. Probably even doing some turkey as another protein if you don't like pork or what have you. So we're going to have that. We've got, I believe I can say this, Rolling Thunder's favorite music talent coming into Park Hillbillies. And they're local as well. They're out of Collierville.
And they're unreal. Like, the vibe they bring.
If you haven't seen them,
next level.
come see them.
I'll put it to you this way. We took them to Nashville with us this year at NWTF and talked the scoreboard into letting us let them play at our after party on Saturday night. And Macy Watkins liked them so much she has them playing this weekend at her wedding. And the scoreboard was like, "Will y'all bring them back?"
Heck yeah.
So when you go to Nashville and you turn heads and book gigs off of a bar event, you got it.
Yeah, they're killer.
And the Hillbillies got it.
Yeah. So they're coming. We're also going to do a little bit. So it's going to be, so far, what you've heard, it's a lot like a Live at the Shop event. But we're also bringing in a whole other level of aspect of an auction or a raffle or both, if you will. I guess some items will be raffled, some will be auctioned.
That's right. It'll be
correct?
both,
okay.
for sure. We've always done raffles at our golf scramble.
Right.
All 7 of them. Even the first year or two, they were just really small raffles, but just as a way to kind of, raise a little extra money for charity. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, Gabe Baker, our Ducks Unlimited rep, he's going to be emceeing it that night. So I believe there's going to be the DU Gunner of the Year. Is that right?
That's right. And he's bringing his team as well. So they're going to have they're bringing a bartender, and our friends at Shin Gear have sponsored the water hole. I may be stealing your thunder.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, it's going to be a world-class event, world-class food, open bar, free to the public. Gabe's bringing an auctioneer.
And for anybody who's maybe not familiar with the golf scramble, like this is going to be one heck of a good time. But there's a reason that we're having
That's right.
this ordeal. So why don't you give a little bit of the backstory of why we have the
so this is our 7th one, which means that oh gosh, did we start this in 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22? Let's see. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 19?
19?
19 is our first year. That math on years is really hard for me, but somewhere along in the 18, 19 range, the story goes that we, the way we duck hunt in Arkansas, most of us hunt public, and so we just have a house rented, and typically it's just a crummy house with, running water and electricity, and you kind of have a whole collection of people that you hunt with, and depending on who's there in the day, like, that group grows and subtracts, just based on how good the hunting is. But it's a group of people that you basically only see during that little 60-day of the year window. And my buddy Derek Goddard, who's a great golfer and just an all-around incredible athlete, he said one year at the end, he was like, man, we ain't going to see these people again until, November. And so just kind of the chatter got to be, let's all get together and play some golf. And so the first year of the Golf Scramble was a year that, for whatever reason, there was an opening one weekend at the country club where they didn't have anything booked. And our country club is the quintessential podunk rural American country club. It's 9 holes, 10 tee boxes, 9 putting surfaces. Did I get that right? Yeah. So the front and the back are the same, but 10 and 1 have different tee boxes. And so it was like, well, why don't we rent it out and just, get a collection of folks? And so we had a bunch of folks show up, and we were like, well, I think you're supposed to charge money for it. When it was all said and done, we had a pile of money left over. And I was like, there's no way, I don't feel right about, we paid a bunch of it out as prize, but I don't feel right about keeping this money. We didn't do anything. So we gave it to a local charity called the Carl Perkins Center, which is a child advocacy center here in West Tennessee. There's 15 of those offices in the counties that make up West Tennessee. Shelby County, where Memphis is located, does not have one because, one, the size of the county, but two, there's about 5 or 6 other organizations that do sort of the same thing. So the 15 rural counties in West Tennessee have a Carl Perkins Center. And essentially what they do is they come alongside child abuse victims, both physical abuse like assault, but also sexual abuse, and they serve as an advocate for them in the court system for justice, number one, but number two, post-trauma counseling, and it's an incredible organization, really, and it's it's not the uplifting topic that you want to talk about. That's like fun, but to discuss, but it's a real thing in our world.
Yeah.
And if you're an abuse victim, the future's hard for you. You have a lot of mental, things to work through, not to mention the physical and emotional things to work through. And so all that being said, Lindy and I found out about this organization shortly after we moved out here, because one of our very good friends is the I think her title is she's just in charge of this branch, I guess. Her name's Haley Duffy. And we just really think the world of Haley. Our kids are the same age. We go to church together. And so we just kind of, by virtue of our friendship with the Duffys, learned about the Carl Perkins Center and the work that they did. And long story short, we had this pile of money after the first golf scramble. And we're like, you know what, we got to give this away to somebody.
Yeah.
So we gave it to the Carl Perkins Center, which opened doors for us to kind of learn more about what they are doing and then, support them in other ways. But it's really fun because this event has grown from, hey, let's all get together sometime in between 2 duck seasons to, this is one of the largest fundraisers that our Fayette County Carl Perkins Center office experiences in a year. And for them, it's great because it's a whole group of people that they're not normally asking for money
for help,
from,
sure.
And so we live in a small county. We live in a small rural county. We live in a small town, 3,000 people. Like, they may have 5 or 6 fundraisers a year, but they're asking the same people 5 or 6 times for donations. And here we're bringing 128 golfers in, and there won't be 10 of them from right here in Summerville, maybe 15. And people are coming in town to eat the meal and enjoy the party Friday night that will not even play golf Saturday, just because they've been to the party before, and it's such a good time, and it supports such a great cause. So it's really fun for a lot of standpoints. The main one being it benefits the incredible work that the Carl Perkins Center does for child abuse victims. The secondary one is such a cool event for our local community because it really gives them an opportunity to kind of see how much fun we have. We live in a small town, but we impact a larger portion of an industry that's broader than our local economy. And then for the guys that work here, man, I just think it's so much fun that we're able to enjoy something that benefits our business in a small way, if no more than just the goodwill that it creates and the camaraderie of doing good together. Like there's some real brand value in that. And then at a bigger scale, to watch it benefit, the Carl Perkins Center, and for them to be able to tour it and see what's going on, like that's a win for everybody.
Yeah.
And it really makes for a fun weekend. It's everybody wins. Everybody has a great time.
Yeah. So for anybody who's out there who is like on the fence of, should I come hang out? Like, is it the Friday night event is not just for the golfers. Like, y'all come, get involved, have a good time, and like it's helping make a difference.
Yeah.
So
the thing I always tell people is, like, if you want to know how much about golf this is, it's my golf scramble, and I'm not playing.
There you go.
I haven't played in 5 years because I enjoy visiting with people more than I enjoy swinging a golf club. It's not my golf scramble. I shouldn't have said it that way. But the point is, and to tag team on your point, Friday night is a great time, and they're just being a part of the golf scramble weekend is worthwhile even without playing golf, because you'll have a great time. It's for a great cause. Dinner's free. The bar's open. Turtle Box is setting up a booth. Word on the street is they're going to have the little ones here. The
Rangers? Okay.
Yeah. And Shin Gear's bringing their whole team. They're setting up a big tent. So we're not the Sand and the Boots Festival, and Morgan Wallen's not going to be here. But by gosh,
the Park Hillbillies
are, and so are we.
Heck yeah.
So, but Germ's being real quiet over there. And
I'm just letting you roll, man.
He's orchestrated a lot of cool things for this year that we haven't done before in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of promo items coming your way. Like I said, I think this is probably the best as far as just getting different items for the auction. Probably one of the better ones I've ever seen. I can't say out loud.
You've played all of them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So.
I will say this about Kelsey. My wife knows that Rolling Thunder weekend is canceled. Matter of fact, in 2021, when our son was born, just to make a really long story quick, he was breached the entire pregnancy. So we were going to have a planned C-section.
Yeah.
C-section was going to be June the 7th. The next day
I've not heard this story
was the golf scramble. So 2021 was the only year I did not physically sign up for the Rolling Thunder Golf Scramble. Well, long story short, we go in on June the 6th for one last, ultrasound. They're going to give us a run-through of, hey, this is where you need to be in the morning. This is how you check in the hospital. This is how it's going to go. 'Cause this is our first child. We don't know anything. We don't know what we're doing, right? Well, come to find out, we get there, he's flipped around, head down. And so since it is our first child, they kind of want you to go full term.
Not go
right.
C-section.
So they just told us to leave and come back if you go into labor. They said, if he's not here by the the 20th or something, we'll make arrangements. So I literally walked out of that doctor's appointment, called Derek Goddard, and said, hey, I'm free tomorrow. Get me on a team. And lo and behold, that particular year, Jason Cross and his buddy was the ones playing the music, and they wanted to play in a tournament as well.
Yep.
So I called my buddy, Will Landry, and the two of us partnered up with Jason Cross and his buddy, and I got in the tournament that year. I went and played golf.
Did you
the
win?
Next day. No.
Listen,
It was like having a good time.
Listen, they won the day. Jason and his buddy had a time, and so did German.
I just had to ask, because if you had won after all that,
No. So the history of that is hilarious in and of itself. So the first couple years that we did the golf scramble, we were really just, in addition to hanging out with our friends, it became an opportunity. We were doing the film series. It became an opportunity for us to kind of involve some of our brand partners, and we would invite, them from out of town to come in and hang out with us and whatnot. Well, if you're traveling to Somerville for a 10 o'clock tee time, you're going to travel in on Friday. And so for a year or two, we were planning to have – the first year or two, we planned to have a big party Saturday night after the golf. Shows you how much I know about golf scrambles and golf, because when you get done playing 18 holes of golf and you're sunburned and, buzzed up, like you just want to go lay down in the air conditioning, and nobody wants to party after a golf scramble. So we had a crawfish boil, which, again, just hilarious. Like, who plans a giant crawfish boil after standing in the sun all day and playing golf? Well, both parties the first 2 years were pretty much colossal flops. They were great parties for those people that attended, but it was only about 30 of us that were there. And so we started having all these people coming from out of town. Well, they would kind of congregate, at my house on Friday night, and it was like, hey, we're a small town. Y'all just come over here, we'll eat dinner. Well, Jason Cross came to the second or third one. He was buddies with Jed and Paul and came and hunted every year. And so, just kind of organically as things go, here he's on the back porch strumming the guitar, and everybody's sitting around with a cold drink and, enjoying themselves. Well, we went 2 years in a row where there were more people at my house eating burgers off my little Weber grill, listening to Jason Cross play, backyard acoustic tunes than there were Saturday night. And we'd have, a couple $1,000 invested in crawfish and, live music and whatnot. And so kind of it morphed into, we should just do a Friday night party. So then for 2 years, we did the Friday night party at my house, which is
this
where –
building wasn't here yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that building was here. Rolling Thunder was not.
The business was not here. Yep. And so the last one of those is the one people have probably heard us talk about, where it was an absolute blowout. I would guess that we had in excess of 200 people in my backyard, and a couple of the guys were from out of town and had duck boats attached to the back of their truck. And I'll never forget.
As one should.
Yeah, but random
in
weekend
June. Yeah.
Like, you got to realize if I'm standing in the backyard with a bunch of people, first off, my wife thought this was an absolutely insane idea, but she went with it. Bless her heart. But here, when trucks start rolling up and, like, you don't recognize the trucks, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then trucks start rolling up that you don't recognize and that are pulling a duck boat. It's like, where are they going the first weekend of June? Well, those same people asked if they could pitch a tent in the backyard. And so we have this great drone shot of my backyard and all these cars parked in, this wild configuration. But, it just literally looked like a backyard party from high school, like a field party.
That's awesome.
And you got people pitching a tent, sleeping in the backyard. And that's when we realized this thing's outgrown Spence's house.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Are we out of memory?
We're getting close.
Okay. Well, then we'll keep rocking. But anyways, all that to be said, the Friday night, June 6th, first Friday in June every year, is our biggest live at the shop event. It's the only one during the year where we don't charge for dinner. Dinner's free. We encourage you to, come eat, bring your friends. Anybody is welcome. It's open to the public. We do ask for you to make a donation to the Carl Perkins Center. We're going to have a couple buckets sitting around, and you can put a $100 bill in there. You can write a $1,000 check. Whatever the Lord leads you to do, that's what we're asking for you to do. We've gotten the groceries donated. We've gotten the labor it takes to cook those groceries donated. So everybody that is putting on the event is in it for the same reason, and that's to benefit the Carl Perkins Center. So if you're willing to take some money out of your pocket and put it into that bucket, that's going to the Carl Perkins Center, and that makes it super cool. Makes it good for everybody, and it makes it easy for me to invite somebody because I'm not asking them to come pay for dinner. It's, hey, come support a great cause with me.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a huge time. It's crazy that 26 of our 32 teams are whole sponsors. So like Jeremy said, they sold out before we could even publicize.
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome.
Right.
But anyways, June's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. I'm excited.
Speaking of events, run us through, Big Germ, like what other events do we have in June, July, August? And I may need to help you with those calendar dates, but.
Yeah, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I know in July is when trade show season kind of starts back up.
Yeah, it does.
So I may be skipping something toward the end of June. that I'm
Just
forgetting.
collect.
Well, yeah,
The,
that's
the
right.
June
That's,
collect. And good Lord, the date for that I think is June 26th. I think is what we decided, right?
yeah, it'd be that Thursday, the 26th, correct.
So you got, in the month of June, you got Friday night, June the 6th is the live at the shop. Saturday, June the 7th is the golf scramble. And then you got Father's Day on the 15th of June. And then our next collect will be June 26th.
That's right.
And I will say, before we go too much further on the collect thing or just our event schedule, but the June collect is going to be a smaller group of calls. So
File that away.
yeah, you're going to want to put that one on your calendar and make sure you set an alarm because you're going to have to be Johnny on the spot to get into the June batch. But Thursday, June the 26th at 10 a.m. will be the next collect batch. But you're right, July is road dog season kicks back off. That's going to be wild.
Yeah. We've got some hammers all in a row. Let me pull up the calendar app.
I think it's six.
6 stops in July.
It's 6 out of 7 weekends consecutive, or 5 out of 6 weekends, something like that. I know the first one is the World Deer Expo in Birmingham. That's like the 10th, 11th, or 11th, 12th, 13th.
Right. Then Squad Fest.
Which I'm excited about Squad Fest. We've never done that one, but I've heard really good things. That's in St. Louis. And it's easy for people to access from Memphis or Little Rock or St. Louis, obviously. But Luker and Fisher are ready to saddle back up and ride. They did a great job in the spring, and they're going to crush these this summer. What's after Squad Fest?
Delta Waterfowl.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
You'll be a
Chris,
salad,
sure
huh?
y'all
The
know
old
this.
Oklahoma City this year. Yeah.
I will say Delta has done a really, really good job with their events. Little Rock was back-to-back hammers. And then there was a little complaining about Baton Rouge from a few vendors, but for us, Baton Rouge was great. I mean, we enjoyed it. We ate Raising Cane's chicken like 17 times.
Going out of bit like they were going out of business.
Yeah. Thought you were about to say they are.
No.
I was like, oh my
No.
gosh, when Drake Levy hears this,
Yeah.
he's going to drive off the cliff.
I'll
So
find
I'm kind of, my point is I'm kind of pleasantly, I'm nervous about Oklahoma City, but I'm excited about it.
yeah, it's gonna be a different market, but
Yeah, we
I'm
haven't
excited.
done much Central Flyway stuff at our trade show, and there's not many in the Central Flyway. Look at all those deer. There are 10 deer in that bean field across the street. They're on this right-hand end.
Other side of the sign.
Jeez, yeah, just on the other side of the sign. But I mean, are you
Yeah.
participating in some planning meetings for that? I mean,
Not necessarily the planning meetings. They're keeping us up to date. I'll be there working the event. So
I'm sure you've got a job. They do a good job of deploying all their people.
yes, sir. So yeah, I'll get in town that Wednesday, and then I'll be there through load out. I'll come back that following Monday. So
Nice.
yeah, we'll have a big volunteer.
Take care of Chris Williams for us. He always gets us in and out, and Chris is our boy.
Man, he's running point on that thing this
Oh,
year.
yeah.
So he's got his hands full.
And he's on the back of the beer shower T-shirt. You know, he was the one that initiated the "let's go up on stage" and
Oh, yeah. So he'll be there. Yeah.
wild man.
It's gonna be a good time.
And then after that, so if that's Oklahoma City, what's next?
Back home in Memphis.
Yep, for Ducks, DUX. That's going to be really fun. We got a couple of big social events planned around that, and I think that'll be a great time because it's in our backyard, but two, man, Memphis hadn't had anything big like that in
A minute.
sheesh. Yeah, I mean, there was a little run there in the early 2000s or the mid 2000s, I guess, for what they called the Mid-South Hunting and Fishing Expo. It never really got the traction, but it also was operating in the shadows of the big Ducks Unlimited event that happened here kind of in the late 90s when I was a kid, and that thing was unbelievable. and it left. Ducks Unlimited took it away, and they brought their headquarters here, and everybody's always kind of been like, why do y'all not do something here? So I think that'll be really fun. They've got a 3-year contract downtown, and I've seen the layout. Shin Gear has a giant booth right in the middle, and we have a big end cap kind of right beside them. Hammer Brands. I mean, if you're in the waterfowl hunting, I mean, I would hope you are if you're listening to this podcast, if you're not like my mom or Germ's mom. But, I mean, this year, there are some incredible opportunities for folks in the central part of the United States to interact with the monster brands in the waterfowl and turkey hunting industry. Between y'all's event in Oklahoma City at Delta Waterfowl and in Memphis, Tennessee, I mean, a person could see and experience whatever they want to experience.
If there's something in the waterfowl space that you've been on the fence about buying or wondering what it looks like in person, you have the opportunity.
You can't get the opening day this year and be like, man, I didn't get a chance to see those brands.
No, you've got a chance.
So, and then I guess right after that, we got our last big one would be Buckmasters, which is down in Montgomery, Alabama.
Man, coming back.
Yep. And then what we haven't publicized is we're going to sprinkle in a handful of football tailgating events, just good PR initiatives in between some of those August and September dates.
Heck yeah.
Before we get to the Field and Stream deal and the Shin Gear Film Festival. So it's going to be, like the girls in the hen house said yesterday, holy cow, we're going to blink twice and slow time's going to be gone. I was like, slow time? We never had a slow time.
What is this slow time you talk about?
That's a good problem to have.
It is. No complaints here, but I'm definitely anxious to see Fisher and Luker again.
I can
stretch out the old bottomland flatbed.
Yeah. Stop killing turkeys and come back to work.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So, well, man, I know you got some traveling to do this evening with your family.
Yes,
so
sir.
we better get you back to Alabama, but really appreciate you stopping in, visiting with us. And,
glad to do it.
Good to hear your voice again, and glad to have you around.
Man, absolutely.
So, you taking the family somewhere this weekend? Where y'all headed?
Yeah, we're headed to North Carolina for a few days.
Nice.
So
vacation?
Yeah, wife's family.
Okay.
They're doing a kind of little throwback get together, place they used to always go when they were all little. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Jerem, what do you got on the Memorial Day calendar?
I hope nothing. Man, we're just at that time in life, like you, Chris. So next month, both their birthdays are in June. So we'll have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and it's just between both of us,
nonstop,
having a full-time job, little man's in sports, church on Wednesday nights, practice a couple nights a week, game on Saturdays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
having an unscheduled weekend is like a gift at this point in life. I get it.
Absolutely. That's my plan.
I'm taking a trip tomorrow morning to Spokane, Washington, and we're going to drive a big circle around, try to Idaho, Oregon, Washington, shoot a turkey.
One last stab.
One last stab at him. So he took his last exam yesterday, and he passed all of them best I can tell. So I think they're going to advance him to the next grade, which is, I'm not going to call it a miracle, but I'm also not going to say it was a lock. So he's in that awkward middle school
no pictures on the scoreboard.
Yeah, man. So I'm just glad to I'm just thrilled to see him survive and advance, and now we're going to celebrate by going to shoot some turkeys.
Heck yeah. Well, kill one for me.
I'll do it. On that note, we'll wrap it up. Good to see you. Good to talk to you again, and be safe out there.
Man, I'll try my best.
Will do.
All right. Catch y'all on the next one.
Join the team that is making a real difference. Ducks Unlimited is powered by people like you. With your help, we can continue to raise funds that drive wetlands conservation across the continent. Whether you are out selling event tickets, securing donations, or finding that next sponsor, we have a role for everyone. Sign up today to join your local DU chapter at ducks.org/volunteer or attend your local DU event. Ducks Unlimited, conservation for a continent.